Hey everyone, this is Matt from End Sickness. Today I'm going to be talking about the connection between hives and mycotoxins or mold. Most people think, oh, I have hives, I have chronic hives, that's just the way it is. There's nothing I can do about it, but they don't realize the connection to mast cell activation and how the mast cells are implicated in hives, and we just have to figure out what is making those mast cells so aggravated. So I'll talk about that in this video. First, let me say I'm not a medical doctor. This is not for medical advice. This is based on my experiences for informational and educational purposes only. So back to the video. Okay, so hives. What I've seen with clients is that when they have hives or they have reactions to, for example, the sun or stress or whatever, there's always something that stimulates it. It could be something that we consumed. It could be a high ingredient food. It could be spicy foods. It could be a gluten, dairy, nuts, seeds, things like that that could stimulate hives. But also, the thing that people don't realize is if you're having foods like that, or you're having the sun, or you're having these various things trigger hives, then there's always something lurking in the background, right? That's making your mast cells crazy, right? Because the hives, what people don't realize about hives is they're caused by your own immune system in response to some trigger, right? And the mast cells are the ones that secrete the histamine. They send those messages to the skin surface. They tell the skin surface to flare up in the form of a hive. And the mast cells are the ones where it all starts, right? So what makes the mast cells more angry than anything? It is foreign proteins in the blood and foreign molecules in the blood that should not be there, basically, right? So how do you have foreign molecules in the blood that end up there? Well, you have a leaky gut situation, okay? Or you're consistently inhaling something that's toxic that's going into your blood. These are the two ways. So number one, before I go into mycotoxins again, with hives, you cannot neglect the dietary side. If you're eating meat 3 times a day, if you're having nuts, seeds, gluten, dairy, eggs, all those foods, and you're breaking out in hives, or you're having, 15, 20 ingredient meals and you break out in hives, then that's the first place to start, number one, if you want to get over hives. But the reality is there could be something much bigger that's in the mix, and it's called mycotoxin sensitivity, okay? And the reason you'd be reacting, as I said, to those foods is because of the mycotoxins from what I've seen. So mycotoxin sensitivity is a concept that when your body is exposed to mold toxins in a significant amount during a stressful period in your life, where maybe there's something traumatic happened, something happened at work, you got antibiotics, there was dental surgery, there was some type of major event, right? Then at that point in time, your body is also being exposed to mold or mycotoxins, and then it starts to have these reactions to mycotoxins, and the reactions are in the form of antibodies that it creates. So the antibodies start to escalate and escalate and escalate to these specific mycotoxins, right? And over time, that starts to exacerbate symptoms systemically and cause a flare-up of basically any area of your body that's weak. And if you have a weakness in the skin surface, you have weakness in, you have flushing of the skin typically, or you've had eczema, you had skin issues when you were younger, then that's where you're going to show your symptoms, in addition to other places. The mast cells are most aggravated by foods that leak into the bloodstream, as I said, or mycotoxins. But mycotoxins, I would say, is 10 times what the foods are, right? What happens is when you develop these antibodies and your body keeps being exposed to it, then you keep reacting and reacting and reacting. It puts your mast cells in a heightened state of reactivity, right? And all of a sudden they're reacting to anything, including all these, these environmental and food triggers. And then bam, here comes the hives. Hives popped up again. Here we go. And even the stress can cause the hives, but the body is only having that reaction because it's in a heightened state of awareness, heightened state of sensitivity. It's in fight or flight, and it's trying to protect itself from all these different threats. And the reason it would be in that state of fight or flight is because it's being chronically exposed to something that's poisoning itself, poisoning the body, and it's causing the body to have overreactions to everything else. And this is where the mycotoxin thing comes in. So if you really want to figure out if your hives are being caused by mycotoxins, then you get a mycotoxin antibody test, an IgG, IgE mycotoxin antibody test, and then you work with someone like me and go through what we're eating and figure out what else could be leading to triggering it. We approach it from all different angles. We go ahead and say, okay, we remove the dietary triggers, we've replaced them with things that you enjoy, we're fine there, we're not getting triggered by anything we're eating. Okay, let's see how many hives we have now. I have clients that, for example, were having hives 2-3 times a week, and they're down to a point they didn't have hives for 3-4 weeks, and we didn't address the environment. Even though they're in an environment that's triggering them, we didn't address it, we just addressed the food, right? So we could cut down the frequency of the hives just by eliminating the triggers in the diet. But in terms of overcoming the hives once and for all and overcoming symptoms. Sometimes it involves looking at the environment, addressing the mycotoxin issue. It just depends on how significant the symptoms are that are left after you address the dietary changes. So if you want to talk to someone about this, you know, get in touch with me. I offer a free 30-minute phone consultation. We could talk about your particular case, the situation, and how I would approach it. And feel free to get in touch or visit my website, endsickness.org. Feel free to join my page as well. I'm gonna have hundreds more videos out here in nature teaching you how to heal yourself. Thanks for watching, everybody. Take care.